Hi, ladies. I'm going to go ahead and mute you both while we wait for everybody to come on. Wait and see if anybody actually does come on. We shall see. But it is recorded, so. I know it's kind of late to start a Zoom meeting. Okay, we're going to give it another 2 to 3 minutes, see if anybody else pops on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and like I said, this is going to be recorded, but I'm not going to wait any longer because I've been on Zoom since 5 o'clock this afternoon. I got a steroid shot to my jaw today because I do talk a lot, and I need to let that rest. So we are going to start. All right, so I'm going to try not to repeat myself from what we talked about yesterday, but I probably will say things again because they're important. The first thing we're going to talk about today is we're going to focus on macros. We're going to focus on how you track macros and what macros are, because a lot of us don't know what it is. And if you haven't read the ebook, which is really important that you do. But first and foremost, what I want to say is we track macros, which are your proteins, your carbs, your fats. We do not track calories. Your macros equate to calories. So I don't want you guys feeling like you hit your calories, but you still have proteins, carbs, and fats left. You're done, because that's not how it works. You're not looking at your calories. You're looking at the carbs, the proteins, and the fats that I gave you, the numbers I gave you. We talked about it yesterday. You're looking at the numbers in my app, not the numbers that are in MyFitnessPal or Fitbit, unless you've upgraded and they match. You're only using those apps to put the food in as an avenue to get to my app. So when you are tracking macros, it's your proteins, it's your carbs, it's your fats. Most everything you eat have all of those in it, and we don't realize what we're eating or what the numbers are. So people will say to me, oh, I eat 1,200 calories every day. I don't know why I'm gaining weight. And I'll say, well, how much of that is protein? And they're like, well, I don't know. All right, well, tell me what you're eating. Well, I wake up, I have a shake, I put peanut butter in it with a whole banana. And then like an hour and a half later, I have some avocado toast. And then for lunch, I'll usually have a sandwich with cheese, some chicken or turkey. So basically everything that person's had is protein, fats and carbs, but they think they're eating healthy. But everything I've said, except the protein powder that was in their protein shake and the turkey that they stuck in their sandwich, was protein. So if you don't know what you're eating, how do you know what you're eating, right? If you don't know what's behind it and you think you're doing great because you're only eating 1,200 calories, there's no way for you really know that. So when you start tracking and realizing and being mindful of the food you're putting in your body, That's when your body starts to change. Like, who would have thought a banana has anywhere between 30 and 50 carbs? Well, if you only have 140 carbs a day, and you're putting a banana in your smoothie in the morning that you're drinking, which is really only going to fill you up for like an hour, and then at lunch, you might eat a sandwich. By the time it comes to dinner, you might only have enough carbs left for maybe a half a sweet potato if you don't balance it out. So I want you guys all to think about it this way. The number you have for your macros is your daily budget. We have a house budget, right? You have a food budget. If you were to have your house budget and you had your breakfast or your house, your car, your house payment, your car payment, and your health insurance, that comes out of your budget first, right? Whatever's left pays your FPL bill, pays your other bills, and then whatever's left after that, you get to get your nails done, you can have your hair done, whatever your disposable income is, right? But you have a number you start with, and you take it away from that number. You can't, if you go over that number, you don't have the money. So you can't go over that, right? Because you'd be negating your bank account, right? If there's money left that's not the norm, you know you miss paying something. Same thing with your daily budget. If you have 150 proteins, I always tell everybody, divide it by how many meals you have per day. So if you know you eat 4 meals every day, you're going to take that 150, you're going to divide it, and let's hypothetically say it's 35 each meal. That is your goal each meal. That's the easiest way to break down how to get your macros in. If you're not one to break up your meals like that, like I eat all my food usually around the same time. Like I just eat from like 11 to 5. I eat all my food. I'm not a meal person. I just get it all in. So I know that I have to put everything in my log before I eat it, which we're all going to learn to do. And then I see what's left and I have to work off of what's left. So you could either break it down by dividing it, or if there's food you know you eat every single day, and we all have those staples. And if you don't have them, you're going to have them in 2 weeks. I can guarantee you that, if not 2, 3 weeks. Those go in your app first thing before you even think about your day. So I tell everybody, put it in the night before. If you know every day you have Cheerios for breakfast, put it in the night before, because you're going to have to work around that the rest of your day. The rest of your budget has to fit in with those Cheerios. If you know you are going out for dinner on Friday night, God bless you, on Thursday night or Friday morning, you have to log what you're going to have for dinner. So tell me if you're hearing this. One of the most important things about logging is being mindful and thinking ahead. If you wing it, you're not going to do it. I can tell you that right now. If you fly by the seat of your pants and you have no idea what you're having for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and then you have it and you're like, you know what, I'm going to log it all tonight when I get home, you are never going to hit your macros. You are going to get so frustrated and you're not going to understand why. And I'm going to continually say it's because you're not preparing yourself. You need to think ahead. You need to sit down and think to yourself, okay, I need to have, if I eat 3 egg whites in the morning, that takes a nice chunk out of my protein for the day. If I have this, that'll pull out some more protein. And you have to start building your day in the app. And as you build your day, you'll start seeing what you have left. What couple of things you need to remember. When you are eating food, you need to eat for volume. We are no longer eating 4 ounces of protein at any meal. That is like old school. That's like drinking 8 glasses of 8 ounces of water a day is your water. That hasn't been the rule of thumb in probably 10 years, but people still think that that's what they need to do, even though now it's half your body weight in water. So every meal needs to be 6 to 8 ounces of protein. That's how you're going to hit your numbers. If you put 4 ounces of turkey breast on your sandwich, you're never going to hit your macros. If you have a half a chicken breast at lunch, you are never going to hit your macros. And we do like a practice for a couple of days, and I'll say, Gina, I noticed that you're only eating one chicken breast at dinner time. You need to bump that up and have a chicken breast and a half. And I will go through your log and say, what made you think that if you saw at the end of the day that you only had 30 carbs left, why did you have a full cup of rice? What made you think you can do that? And you're going to start to realize, wow, I never even thought that I could have had a half a cup. And then it would have fit my macros. Or, yeah, you know, I probably could have had a yogurt with lunch because I was hungry, but we're not used to eating so much. So we don't have that in our brain, in our library to do it, which is why you have a coach. Because I'm going to say, all right, Christy, your goal is not to really lose weight. It's to change your body fat and have more muscle. So you really need to focus on those proteins. And I noticed that by the time you have lunch or dinner time, you still have 80 proteins left. How are you going to feel if I say, now you need to eat a protein shake, a piece of chicken, and a tuna pouch? You're going to be like, holy frick, I am not going to do this. But you have to hit your numbers. So if you start early in the day and start working your way towards the end of the day, is how you're going to hit your numbers. When you're looking at the macros I gave you, and Kristen, you're going to have yours, not Christy, but Kristen, you're going to have yours by tomorrow, by the time you wake up. You want to be 10 grams. You have the option or the differential of 10 grams over or under for your proteins and carbs, but fats, it's smaller. But in the beginning, I keep it at 10. So it's 10, 10, 10. So if I tell you you can have 150 proteins, you really can go to 140. You can go to 160. As you get closer to your goal, it gets a smaller gap. And the fats, after 2 weeks, we're going to bring it down. It's going to go to 6. If you go over your carbs by 10 and you go over your proteins by 10, that's okay. Eventually, we're going to start closing the gap a little narrower. But you have that 10 over under. That's not 18. That's not 27. It's 10 over or under. And you could be 7, you could be 8, you could be 6. It doesn't matter. But if you're at 14, I'm going to say, what can we bump up to get you closer to that 10? Because that is ultimately your goal. You are never, ever, ever on a diet. There is nothing on restriction. So if you want to have pizza, you better log that baby in the morning so you can work around it during the day. I know on Fridays that I have 2 glasses of wine. Long week, I come home, I want my wine. It's already in my Fitness Pal as Shannon's wine. 1 serving is actually 2 glasses in my app because that's how I created it. And if I only have 1, I just half the serving. But that's in my app on Friday morning. So that whatever I have throughout the day, I know I still have that earmarked. So I think it was last Friday, I had planned to have, from Chris's Taverna, I had planned to have the chicken with the feta, all that stuff, you know, like the salad and some pita. But somebody brought in something into the Orange Theory. So I ended up having carbs. So by the time the nighttime came, I had a choice. Do I drink my 2 glasses of wine or do I get my pita? I drank my 2 glasses of wine. But it was budgeted for that. And I don't say, oh, you know what, screw it, I'm going to have the pita also. So you have to think ahead like that. Or you'll hear me talk about Mike a lot. That's my boyfriend. We live together. So I'll always say, Mike will say, can you have this for dinner? I'm like, no, I didn't plan for it. But you can have that and I'll have this. Or he'll say, we're going to have cauliflower pizza for dinner. Or I'm going to cook sausage for dinner. So I know I could put that in my app in the morning and I've already accounted for it. If I know I'm going out for a girlfriend's birthday or we're going out for dinner, you usually know where you're going because we're kind of all creatures of habit. And if you're not, every restaurant is online. You can look it up. My Fitness Pal has most of the restaurants in it also. But if not, you could always reach out to me. If you reach out to me and say, Shannon, I am going to Flanagan's for dinner, what can I eat? My answer to you is going to be, what do you want to eat? Because you're not on a diet. If you want to have a cheeseburger, have a cheeseburger. If you want French fries, have French fries. But look how much you can eat. And if you didn't plan for it, what do you have left in your daily budget? Maybe you can have fries, but you can only have 6 of them. But you could still have them. Now, if you say to me, well, I really want a margarita, but I really want fries, I'm going to say, which one do you really want more? That's the choices you have to make. I mean, you have to make, you're not on restriction, but you're on rational, right? So you can't have everything you want. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like you can't, I don't want to say double dip, but you have to really think about what matters more to you in your budget. If you have money left in your account and you want to get your hair done, but you want to get your nails done, and you can't do both, which one are you going to choose? And I always go back to that home budget because that's one we always stick to. We don't have a choice. Think of your macros the same way. You don't have a choice. On the meeting on Wednesday, there'll be you guys and you're going to be in with everybody else. And some of you were in the meeting tonight. So you saw there was a bunch of other people. Usually meetings are about 40 to 50 people. The first meeting, I'll always say, raise your hand and tell me who was so frustrated with macros their first week, they thought they were going to leave the program. Everybody's going to raise their hand. And then I'm going to say, okay, right now, at the 3rd week of your program, how many were like, I love this, is so much fun, I'm going to keep doing macros Tetris for the rest of my life? And all their hands are going to go up. The first 2 weeks, you're going to want to pull your hair out. You're going to message me and say, I don't think this is for me. I can't do this. And I'm going to say, take a deep breath. That's why you have me. Let me help you. Let's talk it through. You know, I'll get a message. You'll message me all the time and say, I can't hit my macros. I'm never going to hit my macros. I'm going to say, well, this is how we're going to do it. I'm not going to let you go and not hit your macros. And eventually you'll be able to start copying and pasting your stuff over and over again that you eat a lot and often. I'm a creature of habit. I eat the same stuff every single day. I have no problem with it. Dinner is the only thing that I usually deviate. But my log is the same thing every single day. When we get off of this, I'm going to put you in that sample group and you're going to see my logs. And you're going to see the same food. And you're going to be like, why does she keep posting it? She's always eating the same stuff. But my snacks change depending on what I have left in my day or what I'm craving or whatever. I was eating Yasso bars every single night. It was in my log. And then I realized, oh, I really wanted popcorn. So I switched it out. And then I thought, okay, I want to go back to Yasso bars. And then I realized I had to give up stuff. So now I don't want Yasso bars anymore. So you're going to start to play with all those numbers. Okay. So I have a couple of things to help you. And these are important. Plan ahead. Number 1, plan ahead. Along that line, there's a slash. Use Coach Shannon. That's why you paid her. And I say that because I always get, I'm sorry to bother you, but I hope I'm not bothering you, but you pay me to bother me. Use me. That's why you're here. You don't go to your psychologist and say, I'm sorry I'm sitting here on your couch, but this is what's happening, right? You go there and you tell her what's going on, or your therapist or whatever, if you have one. I have one. So use me like that because I love it. This is my passion. I've lost 100 pounds tracking macros. And I track macros every single day of my life. Every single day of my life. When I'm on a cruise, when I'm on vacation, it drives everybody insane. But I do it. People always say to me, if you ever want to go out for dinner and enjoy your dinner, don't go with Shannon. Because I'm always like, oh my God, do you know how many carbs are in that? That'll be you guys one day. Right now, you look at food when you open your refrigerator and it's food. In 3 weeks, you're going to open your refrigerator and it's going to be numbers. You're going to have like Oikos protein 15, Oikos protein yogurts 20, ratio yogurts 25. And you have all those options because depending on how much protein you need, you're going to eat one of those. then your mind is going to be totally changed. Your mindset's going to be totally changed. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is so much freaking fun. I have so many people that are in my app, and I have over 200, by the way. I have so many people that are in my app that have already hit their goals. They're on maintenance, but they want to stay in the app because it's fun. And because if they ever don't hit their they still track, and they know that they can use me to help them hit their macros. And I'll always help them. Okay. I talked about this yesterday, but underneath your kettlebell in your app, in your dash, there's a food video. Watch that video, because I literally pull stuff out and I'm like, here, this is tuna and you should eat this. And like, I literally go in my refrigerator, go in my pantry, and I pull stuff out. If there's one video that you should watch, it's that video, because I give you food hacks. When you go to Publix, I'm going to give you this one anyway. When you go to Publix, you go when it's not a busy time. Don't go on a Saturday or a Sunday. But when you go, you can go to the deli section. Excuse me, I'm drinking LaCroix. You can go to the deli section, and I always say, can I get 16 ounces of Everroast chicken breast, boar's head? But can I get a slice of paper in between every 6 ounces? I have already weighed my food. I've already measured it. They've done it for me. So when I get home, I take each 6 ounces and I put them in baggies and I seal them, and they're in the fridge. So when I leave in the morning, now I leave in the mornings 3:45, 4 a.m. and I don't get home until usually 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So I pack my cooler for the entire day. I don't eat out. You know, I don't go to fast food places. I don't cook, by the way. You guys should all know this. I do not cook. I do a lot of grab and go. So those are all in my cooler, and that's how I function through the entire day. I make sandwiches for lunch, which is usually 8 ounces of deli meat. That's a big ass sandwich, just so you guys know. Which I couldn't eat today because of my jaw. I literally had to like pick pieces and like pop it in my mouth because I can't open my mouth. But that's one of my hacks, is that. Another hack is when you buy berries, you know it's like 16 ounces of strawberries. Count them out, divide them evenly, and then you know you have how many. If you count it out in half, it's 8 ounces each. If you divide it by 4, you know it's 4 ounces each, depending on how big the container is. So you don't always have to be measuring things. You don't have to weigh things. If you are a measurer and a weigher, go for it. If you have a food scale, go for it. Danielle Novak, who you'll see in the group, she's down 80 pounds. She takes her scale with her everywhere. It's hysterical. And I always start the meetings off with, like this meeting, I'm always like, you don't need to use a scale, use your hand, you know, use it for a week or 2, and then forget the scale because you're never going to take it with you anywhere. And Danielle's like, but I do. She literally takes it to restaurants. She takes it out to vacations. She's a nut, but she's lost 80 pounds. So it works for her. But I never tell anybody to go out and buy a scale. I'm in my office, which is also my gym where I train clients and stuff. This is my food scale. It's not even in my kitchen. It's not even out of the box. So you don't necessarily need a food scale. I bought it because I was like, oh, I can use a digital kitchen scale. I don't ever use it because I use everything. Everything's measured out for you. A slice of cheese, you know, it's 1 ounce. Like they're already there. So a lot of things you don't need to measure. Sorry, that would be my child. Let me decline that. My 2 boys, I have a 23-year-old and a 25-year-old, and they're both starting 75 hard. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's like 75 days of like healthy eating, working out, drinking your water, blah, blah, blah. They never wanted to hear from me about any of that until now. So now they're both sending me meal prep pictures. Just have to share this really quick. Because yes, I'm proud of them, but they're driving me up a flipping wall. This is my 23-year-old sending me pictures of all his meal prep. Oh, I sent them Valentine's stuff. He was texting me to say thank you for Valentine's Day stuff. Yeah, so now they're driving me crazy. They'll message back and forth like, Mom, can we do this? Mom, can you write us a workout? Mom, how are we going to do this? I'm like, where were you when you were 16 and 18 when I wanted you guys to go to the gym with me? They wanted nothing to do with me. But now I'm cool because now they're older. Okay, anyway, always have healthy food in the fridge. That's why I want you guys to watch the food video. Always healthy food in your fridge, always healthy food in your pantry. If there's food in your house that you have to have because you have to have it, get it out of your house. If you don't need it, don't keep it in your house. And don't be the person that says, well, it's there, I need to eat it, so I'm going to finish it. Give it to somebody. Bring it to the office. Give it to somebody you know. Give it to your neighbor. Don't eat it because it's there and you have to eat it because you paid for it and you don't want to throw it away. You don't need it. Don't use the excuse of, well, my kids really want to have it, so I keep it in the house. I used to do that excuse too. I was 242 pounds. I get it. My kids didn't need the Doritos either. Your kids don't need the Doritos, the cheese doodles. That's why America is obese, because it starts with our kids now. And we don't understand that. So I'm not telling you to put your kids on a diet by any means of imagination. I'm just saying, think about what you're doing. My kids love to have Oreos once a week. Then once a week, you take them and you buy them the little tiny thing of Oreos. Don't buy the package and leave it in your house. They're both blowing up my phone now, my kids, talking about their food and stuff. Can you hear the dinging? Okay, I wasn't sure if you can hear the dinging. I can't turn it off because it's part of my phone, but anyway. Always have grab and go options. So if you had an opportunity to go on my Amazon Shred group, the Shred shop in Amazon, there's Quest potato chips, Quest tortilla chips. There's like 18 proteins in one bag and they're amazing. I don't eat anything else Quest because they're very chewy, but those chips are a lifesaver. Sugar-free Jell-O and low-fat Cool Whip is a lifesaver. Cool Whip has like nothing, so when you have that sweet tooth, you can just down them. Like I keep 2 in my cooler every day, just in case. Sometimes I eat them, sometimes I take them back home and I take them out. Just all depends. Plan a day and then try to copy and paste it. See how it works for you as much as you can in that day to copy and paste. Remember that fruit, we talked about the bananas, has a lot of carbs. Yes, they're not bad carbs, but when you're tracking macros, we're not differentiating complex carbs, simple carbs. We're not differentiating polyfats, saturated fats. Fats are fats, carbs are carbs, proteins are proteins. We're not doing net carbs. A carb is a carb is a carb is a carb. We are not doing keto. So the fruits that you want to try to stick to are berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. Those are great. An apple is great. If you have a hard time hitting your carbs, do the half a banana in your smoothie. Have an apple during the day if you like that crunchiness. But stay away from any melons. Melons are pure sugar. Pineapple is pure sugar. That's why they taste so good. And oranges, the little clementines, you know, those little teeny baby clementines that we all love to just like peel open and eat the whole entire thing, half of it at a time. There's 9 carbs in that tiny little clementine. 9, that's a lot in one bite that you're taking pretty much. So keep in mind, if you have to have a clementine every day, put it in your app. I was on that kick, so I just put it in my app every day. Juicing and juices are full of carbs. If you go to like, don't ever repeat this because the manager of my Orange Theory owns a clean juice. If you go to clean juice, all you're getting is carbs and sugar. That's it. There's no protein in any of their juices. If you make your own smoothies, you know what you're putting in it. If you're putting kale and spinach and green apple, you know, and things like that, then that's fine. You can even put greens powder, you know, but you don't want to go to a smoothie shop and order a smoothie. They make you think it's healthy, and it's healthy because you're not getting a chocolate shake, but it's not. There's like 45 to 90 carbs in one of those juices. Yeah. And Tate, who's the manager of Orange Theory, is like, do not talk about my clean juice at all in Orange Theory. Don't tell them it's bad. Don't tell them it's good, but don't even mention it because I know you're going to have a hard time not saying that they're full of carbs. So just keep that in mind. Drink half your body weight in water. We've talked about that. That is a non-negotiable. It could be, since I've been sitting here with all my Zooms, I've had like 4 Bubblies, LaCroix. Those count. Plan your meals a day or even a week in advance. So if you were on the Zoom yesterday, my sister was on there. My sister's total OCD. I cannot do this, but she messages me on Sundays and says, can you check my log for the week? It's crazy. I don't know how she does it. Her entire week is macroed out. And it racks my brain just even reviewing her macros for the week. But she's been in the program since September 6th and she's lost 42 pounds. So she's doing something right. I'm a day-by-day person. You know, I know what I'm gonna eat the next day. I log it. I hit my macros. I move on to the next day. The only time I log ahead is like Saturday night. I know we're going to a place for dinner. So on Saturday, I already have it logged in my food, what I'm gonna have for Saturday for dinner. So when Saturday comes, I already have it figured out. Or I already have it started. Do not weigh yourself every day. It will drive you crazy. And it's also self-sabotage. When you're tracking macros or anything you're doing, your body fluctuates in weight. It can fluctuate by 2 to 7 pounds every 24 to 48 hours. So you can weigh yourself on Monday and be amazing Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday you weigh yourself and you're up 3 pounds. And you're like, what did I do? Nothing. And it's usually not fat. It's usually water, stress, sleep. Could be any of those things. So that's why we weigh ourselves at the same time every week on Monday. On Fridays, it's accountability. It's up to you if you want to weigh yourself. Avocado, salmon, sea bass, mackerel are all fatty foods. They might be good for you, you know, your antioxidants, your omegas, but when you're tracking macros, you don't want to eat those consistently. So if you have to have salmon once or twice a week, awesome. Try to stay with whiter fish. If you're an avocado person, just make sure you track your fats. You know, if you like avocado toast, make sure you track it ahead of time. You can have it, just be mindful of it. And then, you know, that 10 over under is like the Bible. I'm going to stick to it. Okay. So I want to talk about a couple other things. I only have like 4 minutes before I get disconnected. And you guys know I could just keep talking. Last night, if you were on it, I got disconnected. It's going to happen like every meeting. So I try not to. I have a timer right here. I could see it, but I just keep talking. You must track everything. If you bite it, you write it. If you snack it, you track it. Tic Tacs, Snapple, Diet Snapple, all those things, even though it says 0 calorie, it's not. It's because there's only like a half a carb, so they don't technically have to put it. But if you eat a whole thing of Tic Tacs, that's like 20 something carbs. I do that too. I did that too. For the big ones, you know, the big circle ones. Yeah. So my old Orange Theory owner and I, Jenna, she was a big fitness competitor. And we were eating those Tic Tacs so we wouldn't be hungry. And so we would eat the big Tic Tac things. And she was competing and she went to her coach. And meanwhile, we're both fitness people. And I'm a nutritionist. She goes to her coach and her coach is like, well, I don't know why your body fat is going up. What are you doing? You're not telling me something that you're doing. And she's like, I can't think of anything. And then I texted Mike and I was like, Mike, do you think that Tic Tacs are real? Tic Tacs are real? It says that they're 0 calories. He's like, are you kidding me, Shannon? You're a nutritionist. You should know better than that. So I went online, not looking at the package. I looked and it's like almost 1 carb per Tic Tac. But they don't have to put it because it's not a full carb. And they think that one person is going to have 1 Tic Tac. Hello. It's like 30 in a shot. So I was like, I'm done. No more Tic Tacs. I literally had like 5 containers down the stairs that day, put them in a drawer and I'm like, I'm done with them. And then I wound up throwing them away because I wanted to eat them. And that's why she was gaining body fat, because she was eating all this carbs and didn't realize it and wasn't accounting for it. So make sure everything you bite, you write, you track, you snack it. If you are tracking your workouts, that's awesome. And if you don't know how, on the dash, I'm going to talk about this on Saturday, but on the dash, there's a blue circle. You hit the plus sign and you can click what your activity you're doing and just log it. Because next week, when I add you to the activity group, you're going to want to shout out for doing your workouts. So it takes 2 seconds to do it. Okay. Please do not increase your fitness to lose more weight, to lose more fat. I have calculated your numbers to exactly what you told me. And if you change what you're doing, it changes the numbers. Exercising more would have to give you more macros. So please don't do that. If you are wanting to reduce body fat, but more than 5%, and even if you're not watching this right now, but you are going to watch it later, if you want to reduce your body fat by 5%, you have to get in a minimum of 300 minutes of moderate intensity activity weekly, 300 minutes. So that's almost 5 days a week of 60 minutes. So keep that in mind when you guys message me, or I see in the thing that you're only working out like 20 minutes a day and you're wondering why the weight's not coming off, the scale's not moving, or, your body fat's not going down. Obviously, the less you have to lose, the less you would have to do. Cardio is not the answer. Cardio is never the answer. Do not be a cardio bunny. You want to get in strength training, whether it's resistance bands, whether it's dumbbells, whether you join the workouts twice a week with me, they're free on Zoom. But cardio will soften you and keep body fat on. The more lean muscle you have, the more fat your body burns, the more skeletal muscle your body builds. So when you want to be here and you want to look like this, or you want to see the cuts, it's lifting. You don't have to spend an hour in the gym. It's just 20 to 30 minutes of, bands or something like that. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, because it's usually the most important thing that everybody asks me, is alcohol. Every alcohol is treated the same, whether it is, she has a pen out, whether it is Truly, whether it is White Claw, whether it is wine, whether it is whiskey, whether it is beer, whether it is, I don't care what it is all treated the same. You take the calories, we'll pretend it's 120. You divide it by 4 if you want to use it as carbs, or you divide it by 9 if you want to use your fats. If you want to use a little bit of both, you can do that as well. So you just figure out 4 and then 9, and you can put it together as long as it reconciles to the amount of calories. There is no protein in alcohol. Don't let anybody fool you and tell you there is. The FDA does not require alcohol companies to put the true macros on. They're required to put calories. They're required to put the alcohol content, whatever that number is called. They're not required to tell you anything else. There's a group for alcohol for calculations. I'm going to add you guys all to it. If you don't want to be in it, I can pull you out of it. All right. I'm going to let go now. This is where you guys have 100 million questions. So write down your questions. Saturday is questions and answers at 4 o'clock. I go through them all. I even have a list of the past 3 years questions. So I go back and read those again too, just in case. You never know. And I'm going to start adding you to more groups now. Over the next 2 days, I want you to start thinking about, start tracking your food. Reach out to me and say, hey, can you look at my log? I'm going to put in the group. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Who's ready for me to look at your macros? And we're going to do that all the way. We do that for the next 7 weeks. But the next couple of days is when you're going to see how food fits into your macros. And I'm going to help you try to bulk up your food more at each meal. Everybody got it? Everybody excited?